Hi everyone. Today's live is about that old chestnut refund policies that we would have on your website if you were selling goods or services to your market. It is an old chestnut because many times people neglect to put an e-commerce policy in place, thinking that their website terms of use and their privacy policy is sufficient to cover that. Well, it's not sufficient to cover that. An e-commerce policy or a terms of sale addresses the transaction that occurs through your website when somebody actually purchases a product or purchases a service from you. So this brings us to the question of when can you address a refund situation? Well, firstly, you can only really address it if you have an e-commerce or a terms of sale policy in place. Secondly, you are governed by Australian consumer law in terms of what you can and can't say in terms of refunds on your website or in a transaction with a consumer or a customer in relation to a service or a product that they purchase from you. So Australian consumer law provides consumer guarantees in relation to services and products. So, there's a list of them that you can get on the ACCC website, but in a nutshell, in terms of products, and it needs the product you provide needs to be fit for service, not faulty, what you advertised, etc. For services, the same thing applies. It needs to be the service that you advertised. People need to get the outcome that you have said that they would receive and be delivered in a reasonable time or in a time frame that they have said that they would deliver in. So these are the guarantees that consumers have, regardless of what you have in your policy. So that really means that you cannot have a blanket no refunds offered or no refunds apply policy ever on any of your terms and conditions of sale, e-commerce policy or terms of sale. And these are terms that are all interchangeable. So that's consumer guarantees. A no refund policy does apply sometimes. You do not have to refund if somebody has simply changed their mind or they don't like the product or the service, or if they have abused the product in any way, or if they have asked you to conduct a service in a way that has gone directly against the advice that you have given them that they should have done, but you've gone ahead and done it anyway. That one's a little bit sticky, and you probably will need to get some more advice around that. So essentially, I guess the point of what I'm trying to get to you today is if you are selling something on your website, whether it's a one-on-one coaching service, a group program, a series of meditation tapes, candles, pet products, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to ensure that in addition to your website terms of use and privacy policy, you have e-commerce policy up and running that advises people about their rights and obligations in relation to the payment that they're making to you, under what circumstances you will grant a refund, and under what circumstances refunds will not apply. You cannot just say, however, that a refund policy a no refund policy applies and you won't get a refund no matter what. That is in fact something that is actually illegal. So and is a breach of conduct as a business owner. So again, coming back to how you would decide whether you need one, the main thing you have to remember is if you have a website that is selling anything at all, and people are asked to pay some money for something, whether it is a product or a service, a coaching program or a one-on-one session or a consulting session, there needs to be terms of sale separate to that. And where does that terms of sale or e-commerce policy appear? It shouldn't be lost in amongst your website terms of use and your privacy policy. It should actually be placed precisely where they are asked to make the payment, where the pay now button is. Why should it should not be swallowed up in your website terms of use and privacy policy? Because people won't go looking for it there. Your website terms of use and your privacy policy is essentially a document for visitors to your website. It tells them that your general position, your rules of engaging on your website. If they go further to engage in another activity on your website, such as purchasing a product from your shop, that is something that needs to be addressed inside the shop at the time that they're actually making the decision to buy. That needs to be made available to them, and it needs to be made available to them really clearly and under no uncertain circumstances. In later lives, there are other situations where you will need other policies. So, for example, if you have a membership site, that's another thing that you need to consider, but I'll discuss that at another time. For today, I want you to remember that if you are selling something on your website, don't rely on your terms of use and your privacy policy. Ensure that you have an e-commerce policy and a terms of sale in place, and that it directly addresses the situation around payment, how it's done, and how refunds will be managed. Remember that consumer guarantees apply, and you cannot just have a blanket no refund policy. There are situations where you don't have to issue a refund, and it's usually around a change of mind and if the product has been abused or a service has been provided in a way that's gone against advice. So in the comments below, I have placed a link to a website legals audit. That audit is really handy. It tells you whether in fact your terms of use is and privacy policy, firstly, that if you don't have one, what you need to have in one, and secondly, it will tell you if you are conducting other business or other activities on your website, whether you need to make inquiries or to obtain additional policies such as an e-commerce policy and get some advice around that. So you are welcome to contact me directly if you want to discuss that or want more information. Otherwise, enjoy the download and the information and the support that will give you in relation to your website. Have a great day. I'll be back next week with another aspect of how to improve your website presence and to, increase the professionalism with which you do business. Have a great day and see you next week. Bye-bye.